This video is brought to you by Manscaped. More about them at the end of the video.
Shot. This is the easiest I've ever had to answer.
I'm gonna say beer. I can't even begin to describe.
I'm actually going to go crazy. I'm going to buy everybody around on this one. All right. And welcome back, everybody, to Big Apple Hockey's Bar Talk, where we are gauging our confidence on NHL topics based on our choice of drink. Are you just so depressed? Oh, goodness, give me a shot. Are you so confident? You're buying everybody around, or just so out of a beer? Play along down in the comments below. And we're going to focus in on one player right now who's probably going to be available, especially with the St. Louis Blues dropping to absolute nothing. But Vladimir Tarasenko this season, 10 goals, 19 assists, and 29 points. He was just named an All Star for the game on Saturday, UFA at the end of the season. We're going to start with this one. Philk, Vladimir Tarasenko is a better fit for the New York Rangers than the Nashville Predators' Tanner Jeannot.
I'm going to buy around on this. Jeannot is a great fit. And this is because the Larry Brooks article came out mentioning both of these guys. But Jeannot is a great fit in the bottom six. And that's not somebody I would want to give up Vitaly Kravtsov for at this point. But Vladimir Tarasenko will come in, will be a goal scorer, will play in the top six, will push one of the wingers down. That's someone that I could see clicking with someone like Mika Zibanejad and helping that line out because the Rangers desperately need scoring 5-on-5. So whether it's top six help, middle six help, depth on the right wing in general has been scarce for the Rangers ever since they traded the guy who used to wear 89 because everybody gets riled up whenever you say his name. So Vladimir Tarasenko could, and not only that, but this is actually a really good point here. Vladimir Tarasenko could help with the power play as well. He's a sniper. This power play needs another sniper, another shooter on it. So I would definitely say that Vladimir Tarasenko is the guy there.
Well, before going to Anthony, I'll just say my thoughts on this. I'm going shot. I think you need to get Tanner Jeannot in the bottom six. I don't think you need to go big game hunting if you're the New York Rangers because Gerard Gallant does not use more big names than the five that I mentioned earlier in the first part. No, I think Tanner Jeannot is you need to strengthen lines 3 and 4, and Jeannot would definitely be a great way to do it. Maybe even put Jeannot with Artemi Panarin, open up some space for him. But he would be great for the New York Rangers. I think Jeannot over Vladimir Tarasenko. Anthony.
Yeah, it's around. However, and I think cost-wise, I think the Rangers could afford it because me personally, Tarasenko's had a bad year. Well, not a bad year, just down for him. He's been hurt. He has a no-trade clause that apparently I think is limiting him to only a handful of teams. So I actually think Tarasenko might only be like a second-round pick and a prospect. So that's all good. Rangers can afford it. However, I mean, I just don't know. Does it make sense because you're not going to be able to re-sign him going forward? I mean, they have $15 million of cap space to work with this offseason, but you have to re-sign Hedel is going to get a significant raise. Keandre Miller, Laugh. So, I mean, yeah, could they give up the assets for him? But he's going to be a pure rental. So I just don't know if the Rangers should do that again after giving up, first last year for Kopp and as he was a pure rental. So, yeah, he would look great on them. He would definitely fit, help the power play, all that. But they can't keep him going forward. So that's why I just hesitate a little bit on it.
Well, I mean, when the Rangers won the Stanley Cup in 1994, they had Craig McTavish, who was a free agent, Glenn Anderson, who was a free agent. There was plenty of free agents that were all over the place over there. If you're going to go for the Cup, sometimes you have to do that. You got to get a guy who's just going to come in. And they had a shot at keeping Andrew Kopp last year, but they knew they were going to get outbid. And actually, they even took that money and paid it to Vinny Trocheck. So, however, there's another team that might want Vladimir Tarasenko. The Islanders need to go get him. Anthony.
I mean, Yeah, I mean, round, because, you added Horvat, you added Tarasenko too. That's really, really good. But again, same thing as the Rangers. The Islanders, they wouldn't be able to afford to extend Horvat and Tarasenko unless you did major surgery like moving Pajot, moving Palmieri, and a bunch of other pieces. That's not happening. So yeah, while he would help, they just wouldn't be able to retain him going forward. And if you look at Lou's track record, trades for Kovalchuk, re-signs him. Trades for Palmieri, Pajot, re-signs him. Trades for Horvat, trending on re-signing him. Doesn't seem like he believes in trading for a pure rental and letting him go. So for that alone, I don't think he's going to do it. But yes, it would help them immensely. I just don't think it's worth it to, give up a second-round pick and Samuel Bolduc for a guy that you're only going to have for a playoff run. So round, but it just doesn't make sense going forward.
Phil.
Shot. You went and you got your guy forward. Now they need to go get a defenseman, if you ask me. The one thing that I've noticed with the Islanders, and we talked about it before doing the midterm grades, is the fact that they have had some very, very inconsistent efforts defensively. Part of that due to injuries to a guy like Adam Pelech and Noah Dobson, but you can't go into the playoffs right now with Sebastian Aho taking big minutes for you, or taking NHL minutes for you, I should say, at this point, because he doesn't look like an NHL defenseman right now, and I would want an upgrade over him. Parker Wotherspoon is as good as he's been. Don't you think you'd want an upgrade over him come playoff time? For me, that I know I would, especially after you had a defense that looked like Ryan Pulock, Adam Pelech, Devon Taves, Scott Mayfield, Nick Leddy, that brought you to back-to-back conference finals. So I would want to get another,
that's fair,
another defenseman. I think the Islanders, if they're smart and if they're really looking to go for it, I think their target would be Vladislav Gavrikov at this point. I think that would be the guy to go get for them.
I think there's going to be a bidding war for Gavrikov,
yeah.
And a matter of fact,
totally agree with that.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be going after him. This is my question, and I'm still going to go with you, buying around, because I think Tarasenko should be an Islander either this year or next, and he would be perfect for them. He would completely revamp their power play. You got a one-time option from the right side, and it works. He could work in tandem with Dobson. There's so many good things about it, and then it moves Brock Nelson down to the second power play unit, and he's already your leading scorer. So I really like it. Now, the practicality of it, yes, Anthony's got a really good point, and so do you, Phil. And because if you go for Tarasenko, you can't get a defenseman. I think their defense is okay. To good. You kind of got me on that one. I don't think Jacob Chikrin's the answer, though, either. Guys,
I don't think they have the assets for Jacob Chikrin anymore.
No, I don't think they do.
No.
And a matter of fact, you already dealt away one first-round pick. You don't want to deal away a second-rounder or a first-rounder next year. You're going to end up being the Florida Panthers. Now, guys, sticking with the St. Louis Blues and just their major piece, who is signed to a ridiculous extension, Jordan Binnington. You look at those stats this year: 18, and 3, 3.27 goals against, and a .892 save percentage. The only way you can have those numbers is if you're trying to dodge the shots. And I watched the game Monday night. I thought he looked pretty good, and then suddenly, bang, 3 goals in the back of the net. St. Louis really needs to part ways with Jordan Binnington. Phil.
I would say that Jordan Binnington has looked like dog shit, but it's not even just regular dog shit. It's the white dog shit from Step Brothers that Brennan gets forced to lick. That's how bad Jordan Binnington has been for a long time. And I would say that, yeah, they all right. So the question is, do they need to? Yes, they need to. So it's around. But the real question should be, can they?
The answer is no.
Jordan Binnington? And that answer is no. Because if you try to buy him out, forget about it. that contract is an absolute stinker to buy out. I'll pull it up again. But when I remember looking at this like a couple of months back and being like, oh my God, this contract is not a contract that's going to get bought out. So,
if I recall, Phil, it's $6 million until 2028, I believe. You could correct me on the year on that one. Anthony, I'm going to jump in again real quick before I go to you on this. Let me also say this anecdote as Phil is looking up that number. My last two girlfriends I moved in with.
27. He's got four years after this year.
That's 4 more years and 6. Yeah, just, oh my God. My last two girlfriends I moved in with, and I had leases that I signed for the apartments, and we broke up within like 3 months of living together. So the answer sometimes is you're just because you sign a deal, you go, oh my God, I am so stuck in this contract now. You know, that's where the St. Louis Blues are. They got the buyer's remorse. Do they need to part ways? Yes. Can they? Probably not. Because he does have no trade protection. There's only one scenario I could think of for this one, guys. Can you guess where I'm saying you could try to make a trade partner? Florida.
Oof, man. Yeah, they're not going to do that.
Sergei Bobrovsky back for I think I'd rather have Sergei Bobrovsky the next couple of years than Jordan Binnington.
All right, so Jordan Binnington's buyout, if they buy him out after this after this season, the dead cap for the next 2 seasons would be 666,667. Then it would go to 1,666,667. Then 3,666,667. And then the next 4 years after that would be 2.1666 so on million.
That might be their best option. That really might be their best option.
It's not a terrible buyout, but that's long, and the cap hit gets higher towards the end of it. That's not great.
Anthony.
Yeah, round. But I mean, you guys really said everything I could say. Just 4 years left after this at $6 million. It's going to be hard to move that contract. They would have to, really sweeten the pot here. And then also, too, you have to find a team that believes that Binnington, with a change of scenery, can get back to how he was when they won the cup. But I don't see that happening.
No. And again, he made some phenomenal saves the other night versus Winnipeg. And then they started the second period 2-1. By the time you were 2.5 minutes in, they were down 3-2, or even 3 minutes in, down 3-2. So, by the way, guys, did anybody know what one of the hottest teams in the NHL is right now in their last 10? The Edmonton Oilers. The Edmonton Oilers 7-1-2 in their last 10. Look at this Pacific Division. Seattle on top, 63 points, tied with LA, which, by the way, we did say LA was going to touch first place. Anthony, you were right about that weeks ago when you mentioned that. Vegas with 62 and Edmonton with 60. The Edmonton Oilers will win the Pacific Division. And I don't have that graphic, so I'm going to type that. Anthony, go ahead.
Shot.
Okay.
No. I mean, yeah, they're playing well right now, but still don't like their goaltending. I still like Seattle as a whole more than them. I still like LA as a whole more than them. And I also think LA is going to, try to add. They need a defenseman pretty bad. I think they could be a contender for Gavrikov. And actually, in my predictions, if Marc, you show that later, I think I have Gavrikov going to LA.
I will put that up at the end of this.
I know they are in on him. So I think LA, if they add Gavrikov to their roster, overall, I already like their makeup of the team better than Edmonton. Just don't see Edmonton winning division. Not happening. I mean, it could be wrong. The point margin's isn't big, but I don't trust them enough overall to get up there and take the division away from Seattle or LA.
Phil.
I'm going to say beer. This isn't as far-fetched as Anthony is making it sound. and the reason why I'm going to say that is, yes, Seattle's playing great, but how long can Seattle continue to do what they're doing while having 2 goaltenders with with a save percentage of under 900? Like, how is that going to continue, and how are they going to continue winning games with goaltending like that? At some point, something is going to have to give because this is one of the biggest anomalies in the history of the sport. And then you have LA, who, I mean, Phoenix Copley is their starter right now. That's their starter. That's who you trust in net. I don't care how many games he's won. Eventually, he's going to go back to the mean. I mean, something like that isn't sustainable. We've seen this before. Hello, Andrew Hammond. Anybody remember the Hamburglar?
Yep.
And how hot he was? And then the Rangers came into Ottawa, kicked the crap out of him, and Tanner Glass scored a shorthanded goal on him.
That was his first year, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, it was a breakaway coming out of a penalty box, and he scored on him. And that was it after that. So, no, I don't trust LA's goaltending. I don't trust Edmonton's goaltending, that's for sure. But, I mean, I guess Campbell's still better than whatever else is out there at this point. LA, yeah, their goaltending is really not all that great either. I mean, Jonathan Quick is back. Peterson got sent down. I mean, it's just not good. It's not good. And Phoenix Copley, .897 save percentage. I mean, he's winning games, but again, that's not really a testament to his play. So, the only goaltending I trust in that division is Las Vegas, because Logan Thompson is really the guy, and Aiden Hill looked like he wanted to get out of the way of the puck when the Rangers faced him the other night. Like, was he trying to let the puck in? Because he couldn't stop a beach ball the other night. But
I think Vegas has lost 7 of 8.
Yeah, and they've lost 7 of 8. So like you said, so it's Vegas is not playing well, and Mark Stone. We don't know how long Mark Stone's going to be out for.
Yep.
And that seems to be a recurring injury with him, because this is not the first time he's had back problems. So I don't trust any of the other goaltending in that division. And if this division comes down to the gunfight at the OK Corral, I'm taking the 2 best players in the world right now, because those 2 are just going to go ape shit, and they're going to just go medieval on everybody and score, because McJesus wants to score 160 points this year. So I'm taking those guys over a lot of the teams.
And he's so ridiculous this year. But you know what? I got to go with Beer on this one, because Seattle has got 48 games played. They have plenty of games at hand on everybody. Doesn't mean you're going to win them all. They're going to have to keep that going. That being said, LA, negative goal differential. You mentioned Phoenix Copley. I mean, he's hot, and he has an .897 save percentage, as you just said. That's imagine when he cools down. So you got that. I still don't trust the Oilers in net right now. Campbell's been better over the last month than he has been, but we've seen it with Campbell all the time. Usually he starts out strong and then he ends up wearing down. But last month he actually got a little bit better. So
Stuart Skinner is their guy right now. He's actually playing.
Skinner is their guy, and that's scary. But to this comment right here from State of Survival, I think you're going to see him move for Gibson. I think this is the year that he's finally moved. I think Anaheim is just they didn't take that step forward. Let Lucas Dostal be the guy of the future. Let the future come now. Move Gibson now while you can get something for him, and go to Edmonton and be like, hey, what are you willing to give up for John Gibson?
Yeah. Well, and they're going to have to do that. And speaking about teams that have games at hand on people, we were talking about them earlier, the Buffalo Sabres, guys. 164 goals against this year. They are 22nd in the NHL. The Sabres need to acquire a goalie in order to make the playoffs. I'll go to you, Mr. LaRocco.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want to say Round, but I don't know who's out there. I mean, there's the Thatcher Demko's out there as a possibility. I mean, I don't know how good he really is. I know last year he looked really good, but this year is kind of eh. Then again, I know he's been on a bad Canucks team. And then obviously, as I guess it was Filk that just typed this. Velimaka, he looks he could possibly be moved. So, but again, I don't know. I mean, Arizona is probably going to ask for a decent amount for him.
Yeah, I think they would.
So, I mean, I think I want to go Round only because I don't know. As again, I mentioned before when we were talking about the Islanders, they got an explosive offense. I just don't know later in the season when regular season hockey starts to mimic playoff hockey, where it becomes real tight checking and you got to win close games. I don't know if the Sabres are seasoned enough to win those tight checking games because they never really been. I mean, let's face it, in this situation, they've always been so far out of it. They haven't played meaningful hockey like this in a couple of years. So without a good backbone there in net,
couple of years.
I'm just trying to be a little nice to any Sabre fans that might be watching.
That's awfully nice, man.
I don't know if it could be. I don't know if it could be done. I'm not really sure if they can make the playoffs if they stand pat in goal. So I'm kind of bordering kind of round here, to be honest with you.
All right. Well, I put up the round for you before on that one.
Yeah. So
Phil?
Yeah, this is obviously around just, if you even want to just go based on what I said about them before in that comparison to the 92-93 team. The 92-93 team didn't have the big point-producing defenseman.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Rasmus Dahlin has more points already than Doug Bodger, who was their defensive scoring leader, did all year that year, and they played an 84-game year. But, I mean, they don't have the goaltending. I mean, could Buffalo go and make a trade for a guy like John Gibson? I think that would be a real good trade for them. I mean, just do they want to give up the assets? Could they afford to give up somebody like JJ Peterka and another maybe like a first and go get John Gibson? They can absolutely afford to do that and still keep Jack Quinn and not worry about hurting their team long term. So yeah, they could do that, but they need other things. Like Anthony said, they need defense. They need defensive forwards. I mean, Zemgus Girgensons is a good one, but I mean, is he really going to be your matchup center? Like, is that the guy that you're trusting to shut down everybody's top opposing forward lines?
No, the guy they usually use for that is Tage Thompson.
And, Tage Thompson's been really good in that role as a matchup guy as well, but you need another guy that can do that on top of him. So I'm going to say round, but they definitely need to acquire other things.
Sorry, I don't know how that one got stuck on there for a round for so long. But you know what? I got to go round two. That's me on that one, Phil. You have to do it. If you're going to make the playoffs, you're going to have to do it because they're going to need to upgrade probably from Craig Anderson. I mean, if UPL is the future, then go ahead, go right with them and get in the experience. But yeah,
this is interesting.
See, that is interesting. But I think they're going to roll the dice.
I don't think Carolina would move Anderson though. I think Ronto would go, but I
don't think they have
really move the needle for anybody.
Maybe in the off season, but I don't see them doing anything with anything right now.
Yeah.
And by the way, you guys are saying John Gibson. Here's the attractive UFA or tradable goaltenders because you got Cam Talbot. I don't know if Ottawa wants to trade him over. The other one is James Reimer. Does that really excite you?
No.
I mean, they're probably better off with staying with what they got. And then if you don't get it, you don't get it. Guys, Timo Meier is going to be an RFA this year. He's right now the number one trade target by the hockey writers. Timo Meier will not be traded before the deadline. I'm going to go out on a limb, guys. Go ahead and tell me that I'm wrong. But I'm Brian around on this one. I don't think he's going. I think you're going to wait until the draft, like Alex DeBrincat, get as many suitors as you can, and then that's what they're going to do. They're going to try to get the best offer at the draft. You don't have to rush for the deadline because you're only going to get the playoff contenders and the teams that are cash strapped.
Wrong.
I will turn it over to you, Phil.
I think he did that out of spite just because you said wrong during the whole time he was speaking, Anthony. So good call.
No, don't worry about
that. The balls on that one. Let Anthony wait now. I'm going to say beer. And the reason why I'm going to say beer because I think it's actually possible that San Jose might not get their asking price met. And I think it's going to be a very, 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 very high one after the Islanders kind of overpaid a little bit for Bo Horvat. So now, especially with what you're hearing, what contending team is going to want to give up that type of package for Timo Meier? Like right now, you might take one step forward, but how many steps are you taking back? Are you taking 4 steps back to take 5 steps forward and in gaining 1 step, really. I don't know. I don't necessarily see it. Unless the asking price drops a little bit, I could see San Jose saying, hey, you know what? Maybe there are going to be other teams that'll be interested in him in the offseason. Maybe we can wait and get a deal done then, because even though this season's done, over with, you'll have more teams enter the fray, and that can possibly build up a bidding war for Timo Meier at that point.
Anthony, tell me why I'm wrong.
Yeah, it's a shot. I think he's gone. I think it's going to be Timo time in New Jersey, or I think that it's possible it could be Timo time in Buffalo. Athletic updated their trade bait board now that Horvat's gone and Meier's number 1, and LeBron said he does think it's more than likely than not, that Meier is traded by the deadline. Listen, now that Horvat is gone, really he's the top guy, and I think a lot of teams that were in on Horvat are going to really make strong offers to try to get something done with Meier. I think the Sharks are going to get an offer good enough that they like, and they're gonna move him. Listen. Obviously, I could be wrong, but my gut says that he's leaving. And again, I know it doesn't always necessarily mean anything, as we've talked about recently, but he is in Mexico with a bunch of Devils players. He's been rumored to go there. He'd be a good fit. I know they would have to do some tinkering with fitting him in long term, but I do think Timo Meier is going to be traded.
We're going to go further into the list later on, but let me just show you this. This will be on our Instagram probably Friday, but Anthony's made his predictions on what free agents are going to go where, and even who stays. There are players that are going to stay. So take a look at that. We'll talk more about that later, because we still have just 2 more topics to go on this. And we'll go right to this one, because I can't believe I'm saying these words, guys. And it might be a hot take, but the Philadelphia Flyers got 51 points. They are 6 points behind the Penguins for the second wild card. John Tortorella deserves Jack Adams consideration. Anthony.
Shot. Listen, he's done a good job given what the Flyers have. That's for sure. Not taking that away. But there's a lot of other coaches who are coaching, good playoff teams that have just done, an even better job than him. I think it's just too far. He's too far down the list to overtake, Jim Montgomery, even Lindy Ruff. There's a whole bunch of other you could always throw Rod Brindamore in there. He's one of the best coaches in the league, and I think he will be for as long as he's on the Hurricanes. He always does a great job there. You go Rick Bowness. There are good teams that have just done phenomenal jobs. And Tortorella, let's face it, the Flyers aren't going to make the playoffs. So I just see no way he wins a Jack Adams. No, again, not a slide on him, but not a shot. Not a shot.
All right, Philk.
All right, so let's establish parameters. Consideration. Elaborate.
Let's say top 5 finalist.
Okay. Because I knew consideration didn't mean winner, which Anthony was talking about, which to me made no sense to even talk about winning, because the word, it's consideration. I just wanted to see how serious you were with the voting, whether it was top 5, top 10. So you're saying top 5.
Just top 5. That's it.
I
think your point's still valid, Anthony.
I'm still going to say shot then.
Okay.
You know what? I think that he would fall somewhere in the top 10 and in the latter half of the top 10, but definitely not top 5. If I had to name off 5 coaches that I would give Adams votes to before him, you'd have to go Montgomery. You would have to go with Bonus in Winnipeg. You would have to go with
Hackstall.
Hackstall in Seattle as another one. You would probably have to go with let's see here, Cassidy in Vegas would be another one.
Pete DeBoer.
Pete DeBoer in Dallas. What's that?
Lindy Ruff.
Lindy Ruff would probably get votes over him as well for me. I would give votes to Lane Lambert before I gave to John Tortorella. Actually, that one's a close one because Lambert's kind of, I would say, underachieved a little bit with where I thought the Islanders would be, but Tortorella doesn't have a case to be too far ahead of him though. So I don't know. That's close. But I mean, I would give votes to Gallant before I gave votes to Tortorella, and I don't even like Gallant. Like, not anymore, I should say. I was so happy to have him last year, and he's just done everything. And Don Granato's another one. Yeah, Granato. You definitely have to give him a bunch of votes.
Well, you talked me down. I'm just gonna say beer and then move on after this, because you guys outlined all the different coaches that have done great jobs. I just still can't help but look at the Flyers and go, they have Kevin Hayes with 49 points. 45 points. Travis Konechny with 49 points. Tony DeAngelo, 30 points. He's a minus 16. How this team, and by the way, they're goaltending. Carter Hart's got a 2.88 goals against. He somehow has a 911 save percentage. And Felix Sandstrom, he hasn't done much. He's not anything to write home about. How is this team 6 points out of the playoff spot? They should be rivaling Columbus for the top overall pick, but they're not. So, and lastly, guys, the last one, the All Star Game weekend is here in Sunrise. Phil and I were there last year. You can always check our video when we went to the game. But the All Star format needs to change. Phil.
Round. I don't like this format. I don't like this whole divisional play thing. I wish they would go back the way to that it was in like the 90s and the early 2000s. Bring back the 90s jerseys. I love these jerseys that they have for this year, paying homage to the 94 through 97 jerseys, which I love. I would love to get my hands on an authentic one of those from one of those years, especially in 94, Messier or Leach. But go back to the format that it used to be. The skills competition events, cool. Keep bringing in new events for those. Mm-hmm. I like that. But the game itself, go back to the game the way it used to be.
Anthony.
Yeah, round. I just don't know how many other things that they can do. I mean, a couple of years ago, more than a couple now, but remember when they did the whole draft your own team and the captains, and so they've tried to do other stuff. It's just that it comes to some point, like what else could they really try? I mean, could they go way back and bring back, North America versus the world? I mean, there's only so many things they could do. So, it is what it is. It's a round, but not going to lose sleep about it. I just like the skills competition. I really don't even watch the game too much. I mean, if I'm home and I'm not doing anything, I'll turn it on. But the skills competition is really the thing I'm interested in.
Yeah, I got to go beer on it. They should change it up a little bit. Maybe even go back to 5-on-5. Maybe even do 4-on-4 instead. But you know what? They want wide open. They want scoring. It's a chance for some of these all-stars to not play so much, like the loser of the first two games, whether or not it's Metropolitan or let's say Atlantic. Let's say they lose the first two games. Then they're not really playing that much more. It's just another 20-minute period. You know what? It's fine. It's just I don't know. It's starting to kind of get a little bit stale, and a lot of all-star snubs happened, but at least if they went back and added more stats, I mean, more roster positions, there'd be more all-star slots. So it's just, I think all-star games itself, guys, what do you think? All-star games are kind of a dying breed, right?
Well, the Pro Bowl is garbage, and I don't think anybody really watches that. The MLB game is still kind of exciting because you can still play pretty hard in that game. And since baseball is a non-contact sport, you're not worrying about hurting yourself for the most part. So that one's fun. Basketball, all right. I don't know. I like the slam dunk and the 3-point skills competitions in basketball a lot better than the actual game itself too. But this thing here, I just love this comment here because it's so true. They need to punt the every team represented rule. Why do like in '94? Like, who did they send from like Anaheim in Florida? Like, was anybody like nobody was watching to see guys on expansion teams? Was it?
Yeah,
Scott
it wasn't like
Melton
Trent
went
Yates or something like that. I'm trying to remember who it was.
I think Van Beesbrook was '94 for Florida, but Anaheim. Who the hell
I think it
was
might be.
sent from
Sorry, I
Anaheim?
said Trent Yates. I meant Terry Yake. I have to look.
I think you were thinking of Trent Yanni, maybe.
I think I was thinking of Trent Yanni. I went to a different TY. And not Hilton either. But
Oof,
Anthony, what do you think? All-Star games? Just let it go.
I just talked about what I thought on the All-Star game.
All All-Star games.
Oh, I mean, no, it's for the. Let's face it, it's for the kids. I mean, that's really about younger kids. 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, etc. They think it's cool. That's who they really do it for. So, I don't think you'll ever see it gone.
Phil, what do you got?
It was Alexei Kasatonov from Anaheim.
All right.
And then Ottawa had actually sent Alexei Yashin that year, which I believe that was his rookie year, funny enough. And then let's see, Tampa Bay sent. Was it Brian Bradley that they sent?
Well, I think, by the way, it was 99 when there wasn't an Islander being represented. Then why would Islander fans even bother watching?
So Bob Kudelski was also sent in '94. That's really weird. Okay, yeah, Brian Bradley was Tampa Bay's representative. Gary Galley somehow got for the Flyers. That's a weird one. Oof.
Guys, girls love a man that's well groomed. So check out Manscaped and their family of products. They have you covered from head to toe, from the lawnmower to the weed whacker, because you don't want to look like a fuzzball. Go to manscaped.com. Put in promo code BAH for Big Apple Hockey to get 20% off and free shipping. Please like and subscribe to our channel. We have a lot of great hockey content and an entertaining interactive podcast. So check us out and our library of videos.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.